Hello and welcome to Cup of Tea Reviews. My name is Tim and I'm joined as always by Michael.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining me.
Tim, we watch movies to be entertained, but so many of them are duds.
We watch the movies that can go either way, good or bad, and we let you know if they're worth your while.
We waste our time so that you don't have to.
Today's movie is Dragon Slayer. It is a 1981 fantasy adventure film starring Peter MacNicol. Michael, please give us your hot take.
Tim, this movie is not my cup of tea, but there was a lot here that was really interesting that was happening. At the end of the day, though, they don't stitch the pieces well enough together. The pacing's a little too slow. It just doesn't quite perform. What about you?
Sadly, this movie is not my cup of tea. I really love a lot of things about it. I like what they're going for, but it's not well put together enough for it to get over that hump for me.
So, Tim, what's it about?
An evil dragon is the scourge of a magical kingdom and demands a virgin's sacrifice. The villagers track down a young wizard to slay the dragon and save the kingdom. Michael, where do you want to start with this one?
My number one problem with this movie, Tim, is that it took itself too seriously. This should be a fun adventure story, right? We've got our protagonist, he's going to slay a dragon. Like, this is quintessential fun fantasy adventure. But this movie is so deathly serious. We've got a king who's very serious. We've got villagers who are serious. There's like a weird religious thread in this that's super serious. All these things are just weighing the movie down and distracting us from what is a really fun adventure story. It's classic, right? Hero goes to kill dragon. Like, this is quintessential. But because they took all of these other things, wove them in the movie, and took them deathly serious, I just was a little off-put by that. In the end, it didn't get me over that cup of tea mark. What about you?
My biggest issue with the film is the characters and how thinly drawn they are. They aren't well developed enough, and because we spend so much time with them, but we never get a sense of who they are, what they want, or what their goals are, or how they grow and change through the course of this adventure, there's nothing to hang your hat on. You're basically, the movie starts and then you just wait an hour until the dragon shows up for something interesting to happen. And that's just not enough. I can't sit for an hour watching characters that don't develop or grow. The romance is not really well developed or well executed. And the lead actor, Peter MacNicol, he is great later down the line and in supporting roles. I really like him, but this is his first film and he doesn't bring the heat in this one.
Yeah, and he's done no favors by the pacing of the movie. You talk about just how slow and plotting it is. It really is hard to get into. It's hard to stay with it. There's a lot of characters introduced in the first third, and that first third is so clunky. Mm-hmm. And we just don't know who people are. We don't know what they're trying to do. And at the end of the day, it takes about half of the movie to really understand who all these people are. Yeah. And again, when it's taking itself as serious as we are, we have a weak leading man, it just all adds up to just a blocky film that just doesn't quite deliver.
The one thing I do think it delivers on is the dragon. They spent a quarter of the movie's budget building this dragon.
Which is crazy.
It's crazy, but it is such a good dragon. This is such a great final confrontation between the wizard and the dragon, and I love the dragon so much. It's a 16-foot tall dragon head that is animatronic and puppeteered by these artists who do this incredible job with this design. I love the dragon effects. Absolutely love how that plays out. It's a great scene, this conflict between the wizard and the dragon. I love it. But the problem is you got to sit through an hour of the movie to get there. What worked for you in the film, Michael?
The thing that I liked best is that this movie's trying something. This is coming a couple years after Krull, which is another movie we talked about quite a bit that was so influential on this fantasy epic. You feel the hereditary connection to a movie like Krull here. And they're trying to push it and do something a little more, a little different. Again, a lot bogging that down, but I appreciate the fact that they took a swing and they tried to push that genre forward. That's cool to see.
I give this movie all the points in the world and all the credit for trying something new and for taking a big swing. I think there's so much to love here. The trouble is, as a movie, it just doesn't come together, and I'd have a hard time recommending this to somebody who isn't a big fantasy fan. If you love fantasy films or 80s films, I think you're going to get something out of this, but it's kind of a slog to get through. Michael, when would you recommend the film?
I wanted from this movie a fun adventure story that was a enjoyable, riffable fantasy. It's not that. It ends up being so serious that, again, I agree with you. If you're super into fantasy films and you want to get into like the Krull and those types of movies that are really forming our modern interpretation of fantasy, watch this as an academic study. But for the pure enjoyment of watching a movie, it's just not there for me.
Thank you all for watching.
Join us next time on Cup of Tea Reviews.